Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Combat Corner, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I am your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont. If you haven't done so yet, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Hope you enjoy all the content we are dropping. I have a guest today, and he's a little bit different than the norm. He's not a fighter, but he's highly involved in BKFC. He's been around BKFC for many, many years, sponsors a number of fighters, fights a little bit himself as well, has a lot of relationships within the BKFC. So we're going to chop it up, pick his brain, see how he got involved, and you may learn a lot more from him alone than you learn from any fighter because he knows all of them. So I bring to you, I bring to you with no further ado, Leo Nardo Parondo from Fast Respond Restoration. You may see his guys busting their heads through walls in their sponsorship videos, or just being real, real serious. Like go Slavetsky, where it's like, yeah, man.
Yeah. Or he's stealing my wallet or taking my keys, and I literally don't even know. That was funny. That was funny. That was a real funny video.
So what's going on, Leo? Man, I appreciate you jumping on with me today. Again, like I said, this is different than the typical fighter interview, like who you getting ready to fight and all that stuff. How did you get involved in BKSC?
Man, I say in BKFC probably for the last 3 years, maybe 3 years and a half. I was I wouldn't say his manager, but I definitely helped out Brian Gaio Duran. Um, Great fighter, great kid. I was with him for about 2 years through his whole run. To just a little while ago, but he's my buddy. He's a great fighter. I'm still helping him. And nothing, man. I got in with him. In the beginning, I didn't really know BKFC really wasn't popping at the time. It wasn't really something like popular like it's gotten now in the last 3 years. It's gotten really big. And nothing. I started with him, and I started helping him out. Going to Colorado, Denver. I mean, where didn't we go? Popping out everywhere. To get that title fight that he had with Kai. And we just been everywhere. I mean, I've been a lot of places. I can't even name all the places I've been. I've seen a lot of these fighters. I've gained a lot of friends, and from with all these fighters, that I've over the time period that I've been with them. Um, and nothing, man. A lot of good relationships, a lot of great fighters, and nothing, man. Just here trying to help them out. I know how much they need it. It's a sport that's growing. It's in the beginning of its stages of growing. It's going to be a very, very one of the biggest sports out there. I believe it firmly. It's bloody. It's nothing better, nothing more excitement than bare knuckle. I don't see anything more exciting than bare knuckle. And MMA is fun. It's cool. If they want to get on the floor and start grappling, it's shit's boring. Not for nothing. Um, you know, people want to see action, right? People start booing once they get on the floor, right? They're like, come on,
Yeah,
get them, untangle them, and let them fight.
yeah,
Bare knuckle is the real deal, So I love the sport. I grew up fighting my whole life. I was a troublemaker when I was young, and it's literally my hobby. I took on with Gaio because I loved it. I loved the sport, of fighting. I don't know how to explain. People are like, why? Why do you like that? I don't know. I don't know why. I guess it's how I grew up, and I love the sport. And then now I just decided to help out. Sorry, a little sick, but I decided to just help out a lot of people. I know a lot of these fighters. I know what they're making, and I know that the sport is growing. So there's going to be a lot of room, for fighters to make a lot of money soon. So I'm using the platform to my advantage, and helping out a lot of these guys. Sponsorships. They're very grateful for it. It helps them tremendously, and it makes them look better. They need all the help they can get. They go out there, bleed, fight. Like nobody understands. The shit they have to go through. They go through a lot of
yeah,
shit. To be a fighter, a
yeah.
bare knuckle fighter, you gotta bust your ass. You can't be mediocre. So I think that's the least they should get is some people to sponsor them. You know, people to reach out and try to help these guys, bro. You know, these guys fight, especially if you love the sport and you own a business. You know, help these guys out. You know, that's what I say. Help these guys. May put a little bit of money in their pocket. You know, they got a good following. Maybe they can get you business one day. You know.
Looking at it, right now, I mean, you have I've seen, spots with you and Gogo, with you and I've seen Perdomo, um, G Perez. I'm pretty sure I've seen as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a lot more.
AJ
A lot more.
Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Is HD on your team as well?
Yeah. I
HD.
just did one with him the other day, actually. Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, you have all these. I've seen Townsell on there as well.
That's my boy right
So
there.
there's a lot of guys that you got. If there's anyone I've missed, feel free to mention them. But some of these things are real. I mean, obviously, when I watched AJ bust his head through the wall, I thought that was funny as hell. And I think
Yeah.
they're entertaining and they're grab. How did you get into mold,
Remote.
remediation and all that stuff? Because that just is that's a very niche area. And I mean, I work with lawyers, so
Yeah.
adjusters and so forth, and
Okay.
we're in
Okay.
South Florida. Mold is like
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And now with all the rains, well, man, I mean, I started, I'd say probably 5 years ago. I opened up the business along with my father. And, I pretty much run the company. I do everything. I started off doing the jobs by myself. I would go out, do the job, have the guys on the roof, and me doing the interior, running everything, going crazy. But it's a sacrifice I made. In the beginning, I literally didn't have a life doing it. I told myself I'm going to give it my all, and I did. I literally busted my ass for a year and a half. I didn't barely even had sex, just to freaking no, just being honest with you. It was like I didn't have time. It was just grind, and whoever is successful knows what I'm talking about. Whoever is a
Mhm.
successful business person knows what it takes to build a business from the ground up and the sacrifices you have to make, and it's funny, but it's kind of serious. I would get home, I'm too tired, I'm going to sleep at 11 to wake up again at 5 in the morning, and do it all over again. I love it. I don't see it for the money. I always love the process of what I do. I literally love what I do. I love the hunt more than I like anything else. The money comes along with it. And yeah, man, I thankfully I started it 5 years ago, and then that's when I met Duran, and then I helped him out, and I was like, bro, come on, I'm gonna take you under my wing. We're gonna make you a champ. And he's still in that direction. He's still in that direction. He did blow out his shoulder. I'm gonna be completely honest. He did blow it out. He came into the corner his first. Nobody knows this. Nobody knows this. And I'm gonna be completely honest on how what happened. He came to the corner after the first round, and he literally looked dead at my face and he says, Leo, my shoulder, my shoulder, my shoulder, my shoulder, fuck, fuck, fuck. And I was like, damn. I was like, well, you got this whole stadium here. That's all I could tell him is, you got this whole stadium here. So you got to fight through it, brother. Like, you got to fight through it. And he did. He did well, for fighting with one arm, because he did. And nothing, man. That's really how I got driven into the sport. I loved bare knuckle, and I got driven into it with Duran, and then now I met a lot of fighters throughout the time, and built great relationships with a lot of these fighters,
Mhm.
to the point that they all have respect for me. They all have a level of respect. I have a level of respect for them, and I've been around. I know what the finances are, and I know how this works.
Yeah.
Not to say so much. So I was like, you know what? Let me help these guys out. I've always heard, take advantage of the platform. Just in general, not even to me. Just take advantage
Yeah.
of this platform. And I was like, fuck. You know what? I'm gonna take advantage of this platform. I know I built a lot of connections. I'm good friends with Little Surge. I know Vic, that is, I believe, a good friend of yours. And yeah, bro, I definitely love the sport, and I was like, I'm gonna use my company to be able to, you know, promote myself a little bit more, You know, even if it's not getting work, but at least I'm helping these guys out, doing cool content. And just helping them out, bro. These fighters, nobody knows what they go through. Nobody knows. It seems easier than what it looks, and it's really not.
I mean,
So
most people don't know. I mean, look, we know because they publicly announced it, but UFC fighters get paid for their first fight, and I think right now it's 12 and 12, like 12 to show, 12 to win. So you
yeah,
can, I mean, for people that don't know, BKFC is nowhere near the monster that the UFC is, and it's still in its infancy. Realistically, I mean, we're
yeah,
talking 7 years in. The birthday was what last this past week, and
yep,
when the UFC was in year 7, they were about to shut the doors, because they were broke. And then Dana White comes in with the Fertitta guys, brothers or what have you, and hell, it wasn't until Bonner and Forrest Griffin where they which was like what 5 years or a few years later, where they saved the company because it was about to be done. You've seen all these things.
yeah,
So you can
yeah,
imagine if they're paying 12 and 12 right now. I mean, these guys who are beginning fighters just jumping in, they got to sell tickets. They got to promote it themselves. They're not asking anyone in the UFC to sell tickets. You
yeah.
know,
No,
like that,
no,
like people don't get that. Like if you're gonna,
they don't.
if they're, I know the regional MMA cards because I used to go to them. These guys are making $500.
Yeah,
You know, so
yeah,
it's very commendable what you do, and obviously, from my perspective, I mean, you're in South Florida. A lot of these guys are in Florida. I think most of them are, I presume. And what do we have here all the time?
yeah,
They'll remember that one little spiff, little commercial on Instagram. Like, yo, I need to call that guy now. And
yeah.
it doesn't. It may not be today, but we're going into hurricane season.
No,
So
we are in hurricanes.
yeah,
We just
we're in hurricane
this
season
is
next last
June.
week.
June
Yeah.
1st, we landed in hurricane season, and I have gotten some leads. Believe it or not,
Mm,
I've gotten leads from the promotions. A lot of people are like, "Man, what are you doing, bro? It's so cool what you're doing."
mhm.
And bro, like I said, like I just know what these fighters. I wanted to do something more, for my business. I wanted to
Yeah.
grow it. I felt like I had it like I had my business going, but I really wasn't promoting it. And I mean, if they would have looked at me, it would have been like that guy's a drug dealer or something, from my looks. Yeah, anybody would have because I wasn't promoted. I
Yeah.
wasn't promoting myself in general. And then I just decided, the last 6 months ago, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start promoting the shit out of this. Like I had so much work already. I was like, everything's at float, but
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be able to help these fighters. This sport is gonna blow up. I mean, I know it. Dave Feldman is doing a great job, man. He's one of those guys that can definitely relate in the sense of building a motherfucking company from the ground up. And that guy has done it. I give him all the respect because he has to deal with a lot of bullshit from the fighters. I can only imagine. I'm like, bro, that guy must go crazy. Trust me. It's not easy dealing with fighters.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's
No,
not.
it's not.
Trust me. Them motherfuckers are complicated. But they do fight their asses off and they do, they it's a sport that is fucking it's amazing, bro. These guys are fucking each other up, hitting each other in the face, and I love it, bro. I love it. I think they film in I didn't think that this could ever actually even happen. Like bare knuckle, like fighting without gloves. Like who would have thought that? Like how could you thought that would have been legal, right? But shit, he did whatever he did, and look, he has states and here and opening up over there, and I respect him a lot for that because he really snapped when it comes to this sport and what he's doing with it. I had to give it to him.
You mentioned fighting without gloves. I remember when they said that MMA, UFC was human cockfighting. I mean, this is
Yeah,
what really human cockfighting would be comparatively. You watch these
yeah,
guys and I love MMA, but yeah, you mentioned when they have the wrestling when it turns into a wrestling match. I got no problem with wrestling. I have a problem with wrestling when you just lay on somebody and you don't do anything to try to
exactly.
advance or finish the fight. It's when you just
Yeah,
lay there and you're just like hugging the guy and you're sitting, you're like, man, get their asses up. I mean, I think they should have some type of a rule where if you don't advance to actually start doing something within like
yeah, yeah,
30 or
yeah.
45 seconds, they should automatically stand you up because you're stopping the action and no one wants to watch how did Jorge Masvidal call it? Crotch sniffing. Nobody wants to watch crotch sniffing. And I agree with him, but there's wrestlers who, like when Khabib Nurmagomedov is wrestling, he's wrestling to finish your ass.
Yeah, yeah, he's fucking
Whereas
you up at the same time.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's beating your ass. Where there's other ones where they're laying there, they're laying there. Like, come on, man. So I feel you on that, and I mean, I'm doing a watch party this evening on YouTube for the BKFC fight. I'm doing one tomorrow because that fight tomorrow in UFC actually excites me. That Kayla Harris and Pena fight, I'm excited about. Like,
Oh
I don't know
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, yeah.
those two chicks don't like each other, and I think people are sleeping on Pena way too much. They can say what they want. She beat Nunes when they first fought. I don't care
Nunez
how it
is. I didn't
a
think she was ever
must.
gonna lose.
Hell no.
Yeah,
And I remember when Nunes had lost when she didn't have cardio to go past like 2 rounds, and then it was like all of a sudden it's like she's got no gas left. And
yeah,
Harrison, if you saw her weight, because she looked like she was anorexic, like she sucked her body out today. Oh, wow. But
yeah,
looking at the fight card, not tonight because I'm not gonna get this up today, but I'll have this up by tomorrow. Looking at the July fight card, I mean, this fight card that they've built for Hollywood is absolutely ridiculous, man.
hell
You
yeah.
got Rambo fighting, Townsville fighting, Vicente fighting. You got Bostic and Carrera. I was told about Carrera by AJ Rodriguez.
Yes.
Julio Rodriguez versus Esteban Rodriguez. We have a battle of Rodriguez's.
Yeah.
Francesco Ricci, Dallas Davison. I just saw Davison fight. Um, Gaston Reno, Milton Voltar, but then you have HD's fighting against Draco Rodriguez, another Rodriguez in the building. Ibarola is fighting Robert Armas. Duran is fighting Peralta. He's going up in weight to 55, which is a dangerous one because Peralta's an
Yeah.
a long time
That's his
MMA
weight.
fighter. That's his
That's his
weight.
weight
Okay.
class. That's his
G.
weight class.
You got G. Perez, who's fighting for an interim belt with Andrew Strode, and of course you have the Cuban Mike Tyson, the
Yeah.
Sambo. I will go kill you in your kitchen to Ben
That guy's
Rothwell,
an
which
animal.
that shit
That
was
guy's an
scary.
animal.
I was in the room when he said that. That gave me chills.
What did he say? What was it
He
that what
said he
happened?
said and this was after his last fight where he said to Ben Rothwell and he looked right in the camera. He looked right. I mean, Ben Rothwell, I will kill you in your kitchen, in your house, and he's just like. It's like, yo, I'm scared. I'm not even I mean, Ben Rothwell's 6'7", he's a monster
Yeah,
himself.
he's a monster.
But just the
His
I'm looking
is
I'm looking
different. I
for
know what you're saying.
I'm looking
I know what you're
forward to
saying.
you're five this guy's 5'11". He's 260. Like the fight he just had with the big hairless.
Yeah, 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 yeah. He's
Bro, I thought that would be a fight.
no. I knew, I knew why. How did I say? I sparred that guy a lot. The guy he
Hairless or
fought.
Perdomo?
Yeah, yeah. No, the other guy.
Okay.
Um, what's his name again?
The
Hercules. The
hairless?
Hercules.
Yeah, Hercules.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I used to go to KO Zone, I sparred him a lot,
Hmm.
and I mean, I see Perdomo. He's. I knew that fight was not. I told him 35 seconds was too long. I said it. I told him. I said, hey, 35 seconds is way too long. I sent him a message. I said, you're gonna finish that in 10 seconds. I
Pretty
know.
much.
I know because I know. I sparred the guy, and if I did amazing. I was, doing my thing. I was like, you're gonna kill this guy, and all due respect to Hercules, I have a lot of respect. He's a great guy, but I knew that fight wasn't gonna go nowhere. Whoever thought that was gonna be a fight was wrong. They just, okay, this guy comes from the
I
background.
was wrong. I was wrong.
Yeah,
I
no,
thought.
I
I
knew
mean,
a
I.
100%
Uh-huh.
that I was finishing. I told him, I said, he has no legs. He has no legs. He's older. He's an older guy. His
Yeah.
legs are not all there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I
Gotcha.
knew that. I knew that for a fact. And Perdomo's legs are just as explosive as a 155er. That guy moves. Let's say better. He moves like a 175 or 185er for
Oh, he's
being
so
that
fast.
big. He's super explosive. So these big guys, when he gets low on them, and you're 6'6", you got to throw punches
Yeah.
downward. And when you throw punches downward, you keep your whole face exposed. He knows that. So it's gonna be really tough. It's gonna be really tough to beat that guy. And not only that, he came from Cuba. He's seen Conor McGregor. He's seen it. I can only imagine because I've been around him, and he's a built different in the sense that he came from Cuba. He came from nothing, man.
Yeah.
You get me? He has nothing. He has He had over there. They don't have food. They're living in a house full of wood, and they're sleeping on the floor. You get me? To come over here and have a
What?
nice little car. I remember that kid, Pedomo. He came from nothing, bro. I remember going with Lewis from Dynamic. He's been helping him out tremendously, and we went to help him pick up a scooter, man. And I looked at this guy. I was like, bro, this guy's gonna eat the division. I was like, nobody knows, nobody knows what this guy comes from. And he was grateful. He was grateful to have a little scooter just to get like anybody else would be like, oh, nah, you know what I mean? I was like, bro, this guy he's like, oh, I just got to face this so I could get to work. He didn't care. And that's what makes him so dangerous. Nobody really knows, but that guy has a mindset that he looks at everybody like, like you don't know what I've been through, like that's why he says I want to fight every day because in Cuba you can fight every day. You'll fight every day, 2 times a day. In Cuba you could fight somebody, and if you're fighting for a world title, you fight all the same day. You fight this guy, and then in 2 hours you fight this guy, and then you fight this guy, and you fought 3 times that day. So he's used to that mentality. So him is like, this is sweet, like none of you guys are gonna beat me, and I believe it. He believes it so strongly. You can see it in his eyes, like you were saying. He's like,
Mhm.
"Fuck, who's gonna beat this guy?" But he has. I
Arnold
think,
Adams up next.
yeah, exactly. So we're gonna see how that goes. I know that he's in a take care of business. But we all like to see what when it comes to Adams. I think he was a champ at one point, right? I
Yeah.
believe so. So we want to see that. Like I knew Hercules. If whoever thought that was gonna be, I'm sorry, respectfully,
Hey
but
man, it's
the
true.
the, the 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 thing is that he's too explosive for the division, and he's too hungry. If you're
How
not
how
as hungry as him, you're in trouble.
how tough did that make? I mean, I know we just saw Steve Banks lose to the guy that was covered in tattoos, like all the whole body or whatever, up in Italy. But how tough does that make Steve Banks? He actually went over a minute with Perdomo.
Oh
Because
yes, that
I
was
mean,
that.
he busted
Yes.
him up. That was down here, and he busted Steve Banks up. But Banks lasted over a minute. I'm
That
like,
that guy Steve Banks is he's tough.
yeah,
He just looks like that, but
yeah,
he's a tough motherfucker.
yeah,
He's not a pussy. He'll fight anybody. He's you send him a contract, and I can already see that he'll sign it. Whoever
yeah.
it is, wherever he goes, Steve Banks is just that person that he'll fight anybody. I'm not sure if he's shooting for a title because I mean,
Oh, he just lost.
obviously,
So
yeah, yeah, he's not like there's just those type of people that just fight. They don't
yeah.
whatever they send them their way, they just fight. Uh, but he is tough. He's a tough dude.
There
Steve
was a
Banks is
picture.
tough.
There was a picture with Perdomo that he posted, or somebody. I think he posted it, where he was in like this plaid long sleeve shirt, looked like he's like hacking wood with Wrangler jeans, and then you're like, this guy's a fighter, And then it's funny because like you talk to guys like
Yeah.
he's only like 5'10", 5'11", and then he just explodes on people, and you're seeing like,
Imagine
whoa,
getting so low.
whoa,
I know about fighting a lot, so the simple fact of him getting he works super hard. First of all, he works in the gym super hard. I know that. And bro, it's just not only is he super good and has super good movement, has tremendous power because he has a
hmm
lot of power,
yeah,
is that he gets his level changing and the ability to get so low to and then explode up
yeah,
is incredible. So when you're a six, even my height, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", and you have a guy that's 5'11", that's 260, and he's pretty much 4 feet off the ground, and you're six. How do you hit him? You got to throw straight uppercuts. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
he doesn't look 260.
yeah, I
He
know.
doesn't have
When he's
his body. He looks his body just must be like dense wood bones
that
because
Cuban, he's that Cuban.
he doesn't look 260. And you mentioned sleeping on the floor. I don't think people truly understand because my father was born in Cuba.
Okay.
Came from Cuba in '61 at 16, and I don't think people truly understand what, because you hear stupid shit come out of a lot of folks' mouths. But the people who live in Cuba and these other countries in the Caribbean, live in Haiti, and what they have to fight through to get here, and then what they do, how they're just the mental switch in the not even the switch for them, but to us it's a switch. but the work ethic just that's been ingrained that Americans, spoiled Americans, just don't understand. Like
Yeah,
these
hundred
guys,
percent.
they go through hell, you know.
Listen,
And
fast response restoration only likes to hire those type of people. You know,
I see
we
you're
like
looking
to
for some.
hire.
I see you're
I
looking
have
for somebody right now.
Americans. I
Uh
have
huh.
Americans like, all right, you could be Cuban American, but you were
Yeah.
born here,
Uh huh.
man. I like having people that are, from Honduras or Cuban, that come because they come with, a more of a work ethic. They're appreciative of everything.
Yeah.
Everybody here, people that are raised here, a lot of them, not all of them,
Hmm.
but they're, they want to be spoon fed. They have the phone too much. Like working, and then I have the other guys that they don't even look at they don't even have social media. That's the guys that I love to have. They don't even have social media because they don't. They're not in. Social
Yeah.
media is a big distraction.
Massive.
So you have a guy that's working on a roof or doing something and busting his ass, and then you have the other guy half of the time on a phone scrolling. They're gonna come and tell me, "Hey, Leo,
Yeah.
like, this guy spends half of his time. I feel like I'm working for him." And that's the difference. And it's usually with Cuba, like American here, people from here.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, like, when I have people that are from another country, Cuba or Honduras or whatever it is that they're from, bro, they come with a different energy. They're super great. Yes, yes, they don't have attitude. I don't know how to explain it, but it's
Oh, I
just a
understand.
different work ethic, to it. Very appreciative people, and those are the people that get the most from me. They stay the longest. They make the most because I appreciate those people a lot,
I've
and I
seen I've
take care of them.
seen I've seen your videos where you're hitting the bag, I guess in your backyard or what have you. And have you ever first, have you ever fought like on a professional level? And second, if you haven't, are you getting an itch? Because I saw the bucked up guy, like the CEO or chief business officer or whatever, one of the top guys that bucked up, decided I'm gonna do this. He lost, but that was ballsy as shit what he did. And he was pretty yoked on top of that. I mean, it was impressive in my opinion. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm just covering it and I'm getting an itch. And I'm not a guy who grew up fighting. I mean, I can tell I see just by your knuckles, like
yeah.
you throw some hands.
I have
Have
breaks
you had
here.
it? Have you had an itch? You plate? Yeah. Have you had an
No,
itch like to tell Dave Feldman, yo, I want to fight once?
I've talked to Serge. I was gonna fight actually.
Okay.
I was gonna fight a while back, and I ended up getting surgery. I was gonna try to fight, but I had my meniscus tear. And Pedomo actually used to be like, "Oh, deja la pendada, que pinga la rodilla," and I used to be like, "Bro, I wish," because that's his mentality. I'm a person that I would still train through it. But
Yeah.
bro, the reality was it that my knee was not good. I was
Yeah.
not the same.
Yeah.
Now I'm back to it. I'm back to normal. But
Yeah.
now I'm focusing on the business. Now though, if it comes down to I'm just going with the flow. I'm sponsoring these guys. I know that a lot of these guys would be like, damn, I would like to see Leo fight. I know that he could throw hands. I like to see what he could do. I did talk to Serge about it, and back then that was when my meniscus was tore, and I was gonna do it, and then I couldn't do it, man. I had to get surgery. I got surgery. Now I'm 100 again. You know, I'm more focused on the sponsorship part of it, but I mean, if one day it comes across, I know it is. I know it is. Somebody's gonna be like, "Yo, what's up, bro?" Like, I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I see it coming, and as long as the money is worth it, because I'm gonna be around, and my face has been around. At the end of the day, I just want to do it. I want to do it one day, but I don't. I'm gonna wait for the right moment. I don't
What's
know
your
how to
walk?
explain it.
What's your walk around weight?
My walk around weight, I sit at 225, bro. I'm at
So
220,
you
not 235, 225, but I ain't fighting in
so
heavyweights.
you gotta
I'm
you
not
gotta
doing
cut you'd
heavyweights.
have to cut down to 205.
205. Yeah,
Yeah.
I ain't doing heavyweight. I told myself, I was like, if I'm doing heavyweight. I'll do heavyweight. Nah, I'll stick away from the heavyweights. Not. It's just the reality of it. I could be a heavyweight. I could get to 245 and be solid. But
Yeah.
you have these guys that sit at 245 normally. You get
Yeah.
me? Like not even working out. Just
Yeah.
I feel like I'll be faster. But
Hmm.
fuck, you don't want to get hit by one of those motherfuckers. You know,
No.
they're big. You know, so 205 would be something that if I were to fight, I'd get to 205. And I think I'll do fucking great, bro. Honestly, to tell you the truth, you know, if I didn't have this business, if I didn't have fast respawn restoration, and I didn't have really much to go off of, I believe it or not, I would have been a bare knuckle, 100%.
Hmm. Hmm.
But unfortunately, I have my business and makes really good money, you know. So I'm just helping these guys out. But the day that somebody wants to call me out and or maybe they want to give me a fight in Dubai or something like that, hey, I'll take it, because we'll see what happens. They can set me up and send me over there, and I think I'll do great, bro. I think I could do a lot of damage, and nobody really knows. These knuckles are really built a little different. I'm not to
I
cap, not to cap, but whoever knows that these knuckles, I mean, to hit that aqua bag that I have in the
that
backyard, bare
big
knuckles.
round bag. Yeah, that hurts, man.
Not
That's hard.
only,
It's a
not
hard
only is
bag.
that, but it's rubber.
Yeah.
It's 200 pounds dead weight,
Yeah.
and it's sitting in the sun. So
It's
it's
hot, man.
rubber on sun. You get what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's
So
hot.
my knuckles have literally are burnt out. I'm the one
Yeah.
that actually I Duran started doing it because when he saw my knuckles, he's like, "Fuck, I gotta get my knuckles like that."
Like a
And
callus.
and
It's like
he
a
has
callus.
them like that. He has them like that. He literally built his knuckles like that. And he's a beast. He has tremendous power. So I think I'll do fucking damage at 205, but I have my boys. I have my boy Tomahawk there that's about to take over. They're underestimating him, by the way,
Hmm.
underestimating him because he's older. But don't get it wrong. He's stepping closer. He understands his place, and little by little he'll get to the title. Um, and I think he could be a champion for sure. But I'll leave that for him for now. For
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah.
Until the time is right. If something comes across and they'll be like, "Yo, Leo, and it's off season. Definitely can't happen from
It can't be hurricane
June.
season. No
Yeah, it
hurricane.
can't happen from June to December. But if it's something that they say I'm done with hurricane season and I see the
Hmm.
opportunity, I can definitely talk to Serge and Feldman and be like, "Hey, what's up? You guys want to give me a fight?" Um, and we'll go from there. I mean, I know they all know I can fight, but everybody wants to see what happens when you actually get in there. It's a little different. It's like, yeah, you look good on the bag. You look good, and I've sparred people, and I do really good. I spar anybody when my knee was good. I'll spar everybody in the gym. I sparred Joey. I sparred I sparred a lot of people. A lot of people. Chino, the the big guy. I think he's a big. Fuck, I forgot who he is right now. I don't know his. Chino Bloom, I think it
Yeah, I know
is.
this. I know that is. Yeah.
I've sparred a lot of what's his name? Jeremy Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I've sparred a lot of these people. Like continuously, day by day, and I was then my meniscus happened and the business and I was like, what, this is not, knowing what they get paid.
Of
I don't
course.
like
Yeah.
to say it, but everything is
That's
getting better. Everything is getting better for the fighters. Like
yeah.
obviously this is an ongoing sport. Instead of be these guys are gonna make money, the guys that are actually valuable enough to do it. That
Yeah. Of course.
that they're gonna stick around. But I know that the sport's gonna get that. These guys are gonna make millions of dollars. At one point it'll get there. They're still building. I think Dave Feldman is doing an amazing job. I think what he has created here is a gold mine. In my eyes, is a gold mine. Like, I love this sport. I don't know. I guess it's because I love the fucking sport so much. Like, I just love seeing people
I
crack each
mean,
other and bleed. Like, I don't know. It's
it's,
just a little different.
to see. I mean, obviously they're going all over the world. I mean, hell, a week after Hollywood, they're in Australia, so they're going everywhere, all over the world. That just shows the growth. I mean, I think the best fights would be maybe a sponsor versus sponsor fight to protect
That's
to protect
yeah.
the to protect the people like you and protect
Who's a sponsor
people
that
like
is a
like
205er?
I talked to Vic about it, and I said, this is getting me like was never much of a fighter. I always sparred my former trainer who was a boxer, and he was like 6'3". I'm 5'10", way faster, and he was big as shit. And I'm 260 pounds, but I'm
Yeah.
260 pounds of, Jello. This guy's 240, 230, and he's just like yoked
Yeah.
and very, very fast. And I mean, I've been bigger, I've been smaller, and I told Vic, I'm like, I have to cut 80 pounds, man. It's like, no, just fight one of the guys that have a belly. I'm like, bro, those guys with a belly can move, bro.
Of course,
Those
Victor
guys,
would say
like,
that.
I'm almost 50, bro. Like those dudes can move. My wife said, hell no, you out of your damn mind, you know. But the thing about BKFC is you get hit once, you go to sleep, and you're like, oh, I'm good, yeah, but I did it, Hope maybe you land one miracle, and
You
it,
definitely got to train hard for it.
it
You got to
definitely
train
gives
hard.
watching it definitely gives every man, I think, the thought of I would love to do that at least one time, just to do it.
I'm gonna do it.
Regardless of what happens, you gotta. I mean, and look, this is a business. I get it. They gotta do what they gotta do, but it's one of those things where you get this itch, like shit. You could put me in a 0-0 versus 0-0 fight situation, and and we'll see.
That's
We'll see.
I'm definitely gonna get it off my bucket list.
Yeah.
I
You don't
just see
don't throw
like,
don't throw you in there with the freaking champion. I mean that's like
hey Vic, hey, you know what? Vic looks like a 205er. I think me and Vic should get it. I'm
Vic,
just kidding,
Where are
man.
you at, man? You want to fight this man at
Nah.
205? We have an exhibition.
Vic is my
It was
brother, bro.
it,
He's a
it
good
was.
dude.
You remember seeing Rocky 4? Supposed to be an exhibition.
Yeah, yeah,
If he
yeah.
dies, he dies. It's like,
Yeah, he dies. He dies. Nah, Vic is a good friend, bro.
oh
He's
yeah,
an
for sure.
amazing person, bro. I mean, doesn't get any more solid of a person than Vic, man. He's a good dude. He's very straightforward. Um, but yeah, I mean, whoever's a sponsor and is a 205er, I think that'd be the great fight. I'm being serious.
Yeah,
Whoever's a 205er and is a sponsor. I think a sponsor on a sponsor would be good, right?
I
And
think
we
it would
could
be.
we can make it. We can definitely make that happen. I'll definitely do it as long as it's literally starting from January, and I'm just being
Not hurricane
completely
season.
blunt.
Not
So
no
not
hurricane season.
hurricane season, not from now till December, but I will bust my ass and I'll get training for about 3 months, and we can do something anywhere in March, April, May, even June. Like right before June, I can do something, and I'm being completely serious about that. And I think something on a sponsor is just being able to find a sponsor at 205 or somebody jumping up to 205, and getting in there. I would love that. I need to get it off my bucket list. I'm gonna do it. Even if it's taking a couple of amateur fights first, to and then get it. That's just like amateur. I might even go to Colombia just take a couple fights. Yeah, just to take a couple fights to fight bare knuckle right away, because you can't just come into bare knuckle. I'm not a
Mhm.
pro. I'm
Yeah.
not. I don't have a background in fighting. I've just fought. Fortunately, when I did time, before my business, when I was a hothead, right? We were all hotheads at one point of our lives when we were young. Um, and that's why I discovered a lot of my talents. Being in there and be against the wall and having no choice. So and I always loved it. So any 205 sponsors. If you're 205, you think you can make it, jump on this podcast and let him know. Let Rudy
Ah,
know. I'm
let's
that
go.
205er, and we'll make it happen for some time in the beginning of next year. We'll make that happen 100%. I don't know who you are or whoever you are. We can make that happen. It
Let's
doesn't
do it.
matter
Let's
really
do
who it
it.
is.
But man, Leo, I appreciate you jumping on with me today, man. This has been awesome. I mean, this has
Yeah.
actually been so different because it's just you have such a large perspective of all of everything in BKFC from earlier times, the fighters that and the relationships that you've developed. I appreciate you jumping on here, folks.
And I
Everyone here, I
appreciate
got
it.
Leonardo Parondo. He is the owner of Fast Respond Restoration. He's located in Miami. If you have issues, let people know what they can call you for, so
Yeah,
you might as
man.
well.
If you guys are homeowners and you pay insurance on your home, and you guys have roof leaks, there's been a lot of rains. There's a lot of rains in the summer, or got mold, or you might think you smell the house might smell funky, or whatever the case may be. We do free inspections. Like I'll come in and I'll do a free evaluation of your home, and I'll let you know if something's going on with the thermal cameras, moisture readers, and we'll figure out if there's something going on. And your insurance will pay for this, man. Your insurance does not go up by doing a claim in your house. If you're a homeowner and you pay insurance, this is what you pay insurance for if these damages happen. So why wait, you know? So if you're a homeowner, pay insurance, call us today, man. A free evaluation, free inspection, free of cost.
I'll link it all in the description for people, man. Again, once again, Leonardo Parando, man. Appreciate you, my brother.
Thank
Folks,
you,
if you
Rudy. I appreciate you.
hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Once again, we got BKFC watch party tonight, BKFC 75. Let's go, man.
Can't
I
wait.
appreciate it. Can't
Can't
wait for this.
wait for
I'm looking.
tonight. I can't
I'm,
wait for
I,
tonight.
I talked to both those guys. I like both those guys. They're real cool dudes.
Yeah, Sanchez is like I really like Mandel. Like I really like him. At
yeah.
first I didn't like him. I mean
Hmm.
I've seen him a lot of times and I'm sure he's seen me a lot. Because he does look like a cocky little dude, you know. But bro,
He's just
he's humble as
quiet.
fuck. He's
He's just a
humble as
quiet
fuck.
dude.
He's a very humble dude. And
Yeah.
you could tell that he's just like he says it and he's really right about it, bro. He lets his hands do the talking, bro. You
Hmm.
know, so and I remember that I'm like, bro, this kid and he's very talented. He's really good. He's really good. I think he takes the W today.
Hmm.
I think McNeil wins today.
Hmm.
But we'll see. You
We'll
know,
see.
unpredictable. It's always unpredictable, right? So
Absolutely,
let's
absolutely.
see what
So, folks,
happens.
everyone, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Go check out Fast Respond Restoration. And again, Leonardo Parando, man, I appreciate you, my brother. This
Thank
is
you, Rudy.
Combat Corner, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Come on
Yeah,
now.
let's go.
I've been down through the blood and the sweat. Guarantee you can know I'm a threat. Up and down.